As children, we're bursting with dreams and ambitions, but as we get older, life kind of gets in the way and you develop beliefs that disempower you to achieve those dreams, and you kind of put them aside and live your life. And I realized that this also happened to me during the first, say, 30 years of my life. I'm a little bit of a late bloomer. And I was having a terrible lack of self-confidence. Even though my parents tried to instill it in me, it just didn't come naturally to me. I focused on the things that went wrong and on the things that I didn't like about myself. Yeah, I still do. I'm still not fully recovered, but working on it, it's going really well. Maybe it's because I've become a mother that I try to focus more on my inner child and trying to connect with it and trying to pick up where I left before. And in doing so, I found out that even the worst thing that could ever happen to me, which was losing both of my parents to cancer, didn't beat me down. My father passed away when I was quite young, and it left my mother, brother and me as a strong trinity. Nothing could keep us apart, and we always looked out for each other. But then when my mom got sick, it felt like the ground beneath my feet just was blown away, and I didn't think I would be able to cope with her passing. But she was really strong. She was an example to me. She accepted her fate and she just kept on going until the end. And then when she was gone, the earth was still moving, everything was still going on, and I had to deal with it. I never expected it to change me the way it did, because where I thought I wouldn't be able to cope, I just felt really strong and really empowered and able to take on the world and live the life for all three of us, because both of my parents were gone. I found out that I'm much more resilient than I thought at first, and in a strange way, my mother's and father's passing brought me the most beautiful thing in my life right now, which is motherhood. I know it's cliche, but for me it is, because before my mother died, I thought I wouldn't be able to become a mom myself. I thought I wouldn't be able to make the sacrifices required for being a mother. But then after she passed, I found out that I wasn't scared anymore. And well, we just went for it, and now I have my beautiful daughter. And in a way, I see her as a gift from my mother. So now it's partly my job to teach her how to have faith in herself and to love herself just the way she is, because it's the most important thing you can have in your life, and it opens up the possibility to self-growth.
My father taught me never to quit, and that we actually learn the most through our toughest times, and people have a tendency to try to take the easier path. So I'm sort of an old school guy that was taught never to quit. Back in October of 2023, while I was attending ADE, my father passed away literally one day before I left to come home. And that was tough. And then about a month later, I became very sick, and I had an emergency surgery, spending 9 days in the hospital. Thank goodness everything turned out great. And then I had a bad experience at ADE with, I call them two sharks. Didn't treat me well after the ADE in terms of follow-up. So I really sort of experienced the perfect storm of tough things that happened to me all at once. I try to be very positive with other people, and I'm, the guy that's like the voice of reason. But even to a guy like myself, that was a lot to handle. And especially with the negativity and the toxicity of the industry, I started to ask myself, do I really want to do music anymore? Because it was just becoming not fun, especially when you're dealing with tough people. So I'd like to thank all the people that gave me encouragement during that difficult time. If you're watching this interview, you know who you are. And so I want to dedicate this track, Your Time Will Come, to those great people around me who helped me. So I mentioned my challenges to a few of my friends, the people that I have on my team and in my inner circle, my circle of trust, people that I respect. And the opinions of my inner circle are way more important to me than the opinions of social media or just random people, in the business. So I do respect what they tell me, and I want them to tell me the truth. And I was reminded that, Bob, you really have helped a lot of people in the industry with your inspirational messages and your style of music and you being there, me being there for other people. And it sort of reminded me that what I really loved about the music industry was staying more true to my purpose of delivering inspirational messages through trance music. So, as coincidence would have it, maybe this is how the universe works, is I was struggling, and literally I get in my inbox a demo from Cari, and it was Your Time Will Come, don't give up. And it was probably the exact message that I needed to hear. And prior to that, Cari and I had spent some time in ADE, getting to know each other. We talked about the What Matters, her track with Ram, and how inspirational it was, and such a powerful, incredible track, one of my favorites, that we would do something similar in terms of inspiration, emotion, and a great message to try to help people. So in the effort of trying to help other people with an inspirational message, it probably helped. It definitely helped me first. So I was by myself when I listened to the track, and truth be told, I immediately started crying. And I'm not one that cries very easily. I tend to be the tough guy and kind of keep things in. But I was very emotional when I heard this track, and I just knew we've got to release this track, and more to come on that story. There's several versions, but now you know the story behind this very inspirational, emotional, and hopefully helpful track. So in summary, to wrap up this long answer to the first question, I allowed myself, here's the lesson to learn, I allowed myself to go down the wrong path in the music scene. I was sort of following everybody else's path and not following my own path. And when you do that, it's sharky waters. And I'm straying away from what makes me happy. So now I'm back to my inspirational type music that I enjoy the most.
Well, it even has 3 versions because we also have the acoustic version now. But I think that when you really put your emotion and your effort into your performance, vocal will work in any kind of version of a track. Technically speaking, I've tried to sing in a dynamic way, so when I start out, you're kind of beaten. You're thinking, well, when your breath has run out, tired. But then when the core message of the song is being sang, I belt out the notes for the love of God, hoping to bring across the message of hope and to not give up. And I try to write the melody of the track in the same way, so that when you can't understand the language or the lyrics, you still feel that message of power and strength coming to you. And that's why I don't write a lyric apart from a melody. I always try to write it at the same time because they really work together in bringing across a message. I hope that people will feel inspired by this song and that they will feel comforted and in knowing that they're not alone and that everything will be all right.
So for me, this message was so powerful that I wanted to create three different ways of presenting the message. And think of it like, well, first of all, that's going to be the three different versions are the club mix, the sunrise mix, and the acoustic mix. So think of it, if you've ever had the privilege or one day had the privilege of going to a Michelin star restaurant, sometimes you'll see on the menu, a meat or a fish prepared three different ways. So I hope it's a Michelin star message prepared three different ways. So let me explain. So after listening to the demo that Cari sent me several times, the message is so powerful. It's like, do you put beats and energy under verse 1, or do you let all the vocals play out in the breakdown? It gives them a lot more motion and power, but it makes the breakdown really long. And I just kept going back and forth. I couldn't figure out the structure of the track because of the powerful message in the lyrics. So then I came up with the idea. I don't know if you've ever ordered wine and if you go to a wedding or something and says, do you want red or white? I always say both. So that's when I came up with the idea. The club mix would be more dance version, energy, more of a club banger, big emotional banger, very uplifting. Sunrise mix would deliver a lot more emotion, still a dance track. And then the acoustic mix would be beautiful, orchestral, nothing but emotions, nothing but beauty. And by the way, the sunrise mix will be on the album only. And the orchestral mix also will be album only. So in the club version, the structure of the track, which is basically verse 1 will be played during the intro, and they'll have the kick and the sub. In other words, that verse 1's playing over beats, over energy. And then in the break, which is shorter in the club mix, we play verse 2, but it's got staccato strings underneath to kind of create rhythm. So it never really slows down that much. It does break, but it's not like a typical symphonic break, where it's really slow and beautiful, but it is beautiful. And then we play the chorus in the climb when the energy starts to build up in the track, and then of course we play the chorus again in the drop. So that's the club mix. The club mix has got a lot more power while trying to preserve the emotion, but make it much more danceable. And yeah, that was one way of doing it. So the sunrise mix. So think of the sunrise mix as, you're waking up in the morning, you're seeing the sun come up, and what do you want to experience first thing in the morning? And that's when you say what things you're grateful for and preparing your mind for a great day. And so in the sunrise mix, I moved the vocals to start officially in the breakdown, and the breakdown is really long, and quite frankly, the breakdown it's stunning. And that way, the entire verse 1, entire verse 2, and the powerful message is being complemented by beautiful strings and pianos and orchestral sounds. It really, like you're in a movie or something, and you're shedding tears because of the whole scene in the movies. And the music's all tying it all together. So then to kind of come out of that, how do you come out of that? We have very pure sounding leads, not a lot of layers, and it's very gentle, and then it builds and builds and builds and builds. And it's a little bit longer than most climbs, and then it builds into naturally a drop that follows the same melody, and to make it more of a dance track. So it's just really the sunrise mix is definitely an emotional experience that if a DJ was playing it live, they might play one track like that the entire set to sort of just capture the room. Now, if you've ever heard of John O'Callaghan's set, he might play a track like that. So the sunrise mix again will be only available on the album, and it is a stunning track. Of course, I'm a little biased, but Yeah, so that explains the sunrise mix. And one more thing, I'm going to put a warning label on the sunrise mix track that caution, you'll experience deep, very deep emotional feelings and happy feelings. So once I finished the sunrise mix, then I was thinking, how am I going to end the album? You know, when I lay out the tracks, the order of tracks on the album. And it's a journey, you know, and the album's going to start off with, more, going to have a great intro track explaining everything. And then it's going to be a journey of energy levels. In the beginning, it'll be, you know, a little bit of tech trance, a little bit of harder style music. And then second half of the album will be extremely uplifting. And how do you end that? So when I came up with the idea, I watched the movie The Shawshank Redemption probably 20 times, one of my favorite movies. The last scene, the orchestral music, when Morgan Freeman and Andy Dufresne, that's the character, when they hugged each other on the beach, and the music just invoked this triumph of the human spirit kind of emotion. So that's what we got going in the acoustic mix. Beautiful. It's going to be a Paul Skelton acoustic mix. And that's going to be the feelings that you get of listening to the track. It's, I can do this. It's this triumph of the human spirit emotions that you'll get from listening to the acoustic mix. So that explains the three different tracks. The Your Time Will Come at a Michelin Star Restaurant, 3 ways. So in terms of Cari's part in all 3 tracks, I got to tell you, Cari is a worker. She's a whatever it takes mindset and then some. So she was so cooperative and had great ideas. And we had several re-sings for each version of the track, so the track would flow better and it wouldn't sound like it'd be so cut up. You pull, you know, the original demo vocals and you drop them into all 3 versions. So credit to Cari, she kind of customized her vocals for each version, and it just flows beautifully. So for example, like in the club mix, Cari, she came up with a clever couple of extra lines. Let me see if I get this right. Sometimes you win, sometimes you gain. It's a silver lining now, in spite of the rain. That we added that to the club mix in 2 places. It's just beautiful where it falls. And working with Cari is just a great example of, there's a saying, the final result is greater than the sum of its parts. That's what I got from collaborating with Cari. It just, one idea became better and better and better, and tremendous amount of work in this, so hope you enjoy.
Bob has told me how much he really loved my track Together with Ram, What Matters. And this track has kind of a similar message. It was written with the COVID pandemic and the lockdown in mind, and living in fear that something bad would happen to your loved ones, like getting sick. I just became a mom at that time. I was just a mom for 2 months, and then the COVID pandemic happened. And it made me realize what matters in life the most, and that is the ones that I love, the people I love matter the most. And I noticed that this idea resonated with people after I wrote this track. And it's the same with Your Time Will Come. Hard times can make you realize and appreciate what you have in your life even more. It can inspire you to have faith in yourself, and it can make you realize you're much stronger than you initially thought that you are. So what matters are definitely the ones you love, but one of those people should be you. I feel a little bit like a motivational speaker, but that's kind of what music and making music is, motivating people and showing them that they can see themselves differently. So yeah, self-love is important.
So I always have a funny or maybe a different way of looking at things. So the track "What Matters" that Cari and Ran produced was actually my track of the year. Was it 23? Or, yeah, 23, 2023. And that told me that Cari gets it. And what do I mean by that? I mean that she's got the maturity and the appreciation for life to really understand what's most important in life. And that's the kind of person I want to work with. So back to the sort of life message here is it's not fame or money that makes you happy in the long run. I think when we're a bit younger, we chase that. I mean, I did. I lived it. So what you find is that, you know, when I get this, or when this finally happens, or when that finally happens, you know, I'm going to be happy. Or if I make this much money, I'm going to be happy. If I get the new car, it's going to be happy. If I get this much money in my bank account, I'm going to be happy. It doesn't work that way, because you're just it's never enough. You know, chasing material things, chasing brands, chasing fame. Life doesn't work out that way. And as life would have it, it teaches us very valuable lessons. And I just kind of felt like, you know, Cari and I were both at a place in our lives. We've kind of been down that path, learned those lessons. So what greater person to collaborate with than Cari on this track? So when I work with the vocalist, again, through experiences and lessons here, I like to have an alignment of values and sort of how we look at life. So I do try to take the time to get to know the vocalist up front, you know, to the extent they're willing to open up to a stranger. In the case with Cari, we was fortunate she lives close to Amsterdam, so we met at one of my gigs a while back, and then we officially had a lunch at ADE and got to know each other and sort of started the process. And, you know, what did we talk about? You know, well, we talk about family, we talk about what's important to us, we talk about things that, not small talk, you know, like truly meaningful things. And when you have, I think, an alignment like that it sort of creates the bed, or the foundation, better word for it, for a collaborative environment, a safe environment where both sides feel all their ideas are meaningful, and that when you present an idea, the other person can make it better, and it goes back and forth. And so this was an incredible collaborative process, and it just kept getting better along the way, and that's kind of how it morphed into 3 tracks. And it was way beyond the normal amount of collaboration that I do with most vocalists. So I've had some great experiences with other vocalists, because I do take the time up front to try to get to know them. And for anybody that's going to do a vocal track, I would suggest, if the other vocalist is willing, you know, take some time up front to get to know each other. So in summary, the track "What Matters" had a big influence on "Your Time Will Come," because it gave me the confidence to know that Cari was very similar to me in terms of my values system and how I look at life and what's important to me. And from that sort of foundation came this beautiful track, and you know, it just helped me know that, hey, I'm dealing with someone special, I'm dealing with the right person, and no worries whatsoever. So I do hope you all enjoy the stories behind this track, and that you especially love listening to whatever version becomes your favorite, and you totally understand the message, and in some small way it helps you with your life.